Welcome in the ring. Let's fight, folks. Let's fight. Happy Monday evening, wherever you're joining us from, at home here in Guyana or in the diaspora. Whether you're joining us on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, welcome in the ring. Let's fight, folks. Quite a bit of information to discuss with you this evening. And so we are tremendously hopeful that you have some time on your hand to sit back, relax. We have quite a program for you, quite a bit of information to share. We do have that video, for instance, of the shooting at Palm Court over the weekend. We are going to play for you in a little bit. We invite you, as per normal, to share the live stream, retweet on Twitter. If you're joining us on YouTube, folks, subscribe to our channel, dear. We are grateful to have each and every one of you with us this evening. As we always say, we value you, we see value in you, and we hope that you see the same in us, and that is why you keep coming back night after night for the information that you need here in the ring. Guys, we are tremendously privileged that all of you are here with us. We hope you had a good day at work. For some of you might be still at work. For some of you, you might be home, you might be on your way home. The night is still young, and we hope you guys have success in whatever you did today or whatever you are still doing, folks. We are tremendously happy that each and every one of you are here with us tonight. As I said, quite a bit of information to share. We're going to hold for you guys. Again, we want to ensure that we reach that magic number, and we are going to be right with you guys. Let me see if I can give a shout out to some folks, as we do each and every night. Guys, welcome this evening. Welcome. Quite a bit of program for you. Quite a bit of program. We are still tweaking our audio. We've been getting some challenges with the synchronization of our audio and our video. We hope it is working at least better than it was last Friday when we left you guys for the weekend. And we've been testing and hoping to get it right. And we're going to continue to tweak to ensure that we have everything right. We have good quality video for you. We have good quality audio for you guys. As you're coming on this evening, we are grateful for Imelda and Bridget and Sean, Claudette, Diana, Pamela. I see Gavin Liverpool is joining us on YouTube. Richa Singh and Norma, all of you guys, Valerie, Mariah, and Grace, and Angela, Ralph, all of you folks. We're waiting for that magic number, then we are going to start, folks. I am ready. I can tell you that. I am ready at my end. I am locked and loaded and ready to go. How are you receiving us at your end, guys? I see Kevin, Joe is with us, and Chanel Wills, and Johnny Black Demone, Wendy Ogle, and Bonita Green. I see Pam Halls, Roxanne Odessa Jacobs, Diana Ned, all of you folks who make it in the ring what it is. So much is happening, folks. And when I'm finished, I'm going to toss you over to, well, I'm going to commend Mark's program to you at 9 o'clock. And then I think Rickford is going to follow Mark, Rickford Burke, my friend and my brother, both my friends and my brothers. Mark is going to come up, I think, at 9 after me, and then Rickford is going to follow. I think that is the order this evening, guys. Quite a bit of information to share with you. We are waiting for that magic number, guys. Please share the live stream. We always say we have our role to play. I have my role to play, and that you depend on me for. And you have your role. And one of the roles that you play is to share this live stream. And I'm going to invite you to do so. Whether you're joining us on Twitter, leave us a comment on Twitter. We don't get too many comments on Twitter, but we can see people are viewing us there. So leave a comment on Twitter. We see that they're retweeting. We'd love to hear from you on Twitter. And our YouTube audience is picking up a little bit more each and every day, and we are grateful for that. People keep subscribing to my channel on YouTube, Sherrod Duncan on YouTube, it's Sherrod Duncan on Twitter, and we're on several pages on Facebook as well. Wherever you're picking us up from this evening, whether it's the APNU AFC page, it's the AFC page, it's my Facebook page, wherever you're picking us up from, we are so grateful for all of you home here in Guyana and all of you in the diaspora. We have quite a bit of information, as I said, that we want to share with you guys, and we ask that you indulge us for the next perhaps as we bring the information to you guys. Guys, I'm ready to go. Are you guys ready? I am ready to do what you expect of me this evening. And guys, I expect you to share this live stream. Um, Hundreds of you are already watching this stream. And if we could just get half of you to share this live stream, we'd be in a good place. Imagine if each and every one of you share it, where we would be. So many more persons would be able to benefit from what we consider very, very useful information. Because, guys, one of the things we do here, one of the things we do here is that we promote the truth and we defend the facts. We promote the truth and we defend the facts. And if you don't like truth, well, you ain't gonna like us too much because we give it as it is. We tell you as it is, folks. Good evening to Ovid Stevens from the BVI, the British Virgin Islands. Claudette Harry is on too. Renee Mackenzie Talbot is on too, and June Griffith, Joycelyn Thomas, and all the other folks. Cheryl Sharoda and Robert London. A lot of folks out of London, by the way, tell us that they are viewing our program, and we're so grateful for all of the British, the home of the monarchy, the royal family. Well, there are lots of royal families in the world. The role of the British, the home of the British royal family, I should be more specific, guys. But thanks for all of you for joining. And if you would only bear with me a second, I am ready to go. Bear with me for just a minute. I'm ready to go. Ready to go, folks. All right. So if you're ready, I'm ready. I want to turn your attention this evening to some international news. And if you want to call it that, if you want to call it international news, we learned over the weekend that it's official now that the Judas Charandas is officially the High Commissioner to India, the fraudulent, illegitimate, installed, illegal High Commissioner to India, Charandas Judas Prasad, the High Commissioner to India. Yep. And Stabrook News today, interestingly, took government to task, the fraudulent, illegitimate, installed, illegal government. Stabrook News took them to task with the installation of Charandas as High Commissioner to India. And Stabrook News, in its editorial headline, or with the header, High Commission to India, Stabrook News said two things I think is quite important. Stabrook News said that it is passing strange that there has been no official announcement from the government of Guyana on the accreditation of Charandas Prasad as High Commissioner to India on March 18th. Neither was there official word that agreement had been received from New Delhi for Mr. Prasad. There was, however, an official statement from New Delhi on March 18th on the presentation of the letters of credence in which Indian President Ram Nath Kovind thanked Guyana for the support of India's candidature for the non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council for the term 2021 to 2022. So India got something apparently, and we got something. The editorial closed by saying, on the face of it, Mr. Prasad does not appear to be the appropriate choice for New Delhi. It is now left to be seen how Georgetown's decision to make a purely political appointment to the New Delhi mission as opposed to a career diplomat will advance this country's interests. Folks, we all know what this means. This is Charandas Judas, 30 pieces of silver. He overthrew the APNU government with that no confidence vote, and he was paid handsomely for it. You all remember the car strip with the gold color? Well, Charandas is still being paid for his services rendered. And that isn't coming from us. That is the Stabrook News editorial that I just quoted there, that he is not suited. You see, if it comes from me, if it comes from us, Y'all can say we bias and we want progress for Guyana and we don't want you to move forward. But y'all can go and cuss out Sabre News now. That is what you have to do. Y'all can go and cuss out Sabre News. Moving ahead in other international news, as we run India, TNT's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, is in a tit for tat with the Indian High Commissioner to Trinidad on the issue of COVID vaccine. Yep. And Rowley says that he ain't begging nobody for COVID vaccine. Well, the Trinidad Express took Rowley to task over the weekend for his comments about India, and especially in the face of them having a high commissioner to Trinidad. The Express thought that PM Rowley's comments were abrasive, but that isn't my trouble with this editorial. My trouble with the editorial is that the editorial is it's titled. Let me see if I get it correctly. I think it's Unruly Rowley. I don't want to quote them, misquote the editorial. Tactless PM, rather. That is the header for the editorial. Tactless PM. And part of why this editorial in the Trinidad Express said that Rowley was tactless, not only was he abrasive to the Indian Prime Minister, the editorial suggested that his comments might also be abrasive to his CARICOM neighbors who received COVID vaccines from India. I want to read just a paragraph of it. The editorial reads, "We wonder what Prime Minister Mia Mottley and Roosevelt Skerritt of Barbados and Dominica, respectively, made of Dr. Rowley's referring to seeking of gifts, in this case, the gift of vaccines, as begging." And my own gumption with this editorial is that we are not even mentioned. Barbados and Dominica are mentioned in this editorial as Trinidad neighbors. And we right here. And we ain't getting seen. I mean, we got vaccines too from India. It is alleged. But it's like we're not even on the map in this region. So that is my problem with the editorial. Catfish, Irfan Ali is not even given the slightest mention as a neighbor. And I take exception to that. So Trinidad Express, please mention our catfish head of state next time. Moving on, again, still on international news, and we're going a little further. We're picking this up out of a publication called News America, and we are learned that a Guyanese-American is in the run for a New York City Council seat. A Guyanese-American is running for a New York City Council seat. And of course, we were always encouraged and motivated and inspired when we see our countrymen, or at least Guyanese of or Americans of Guyanese parentage, doing well and elevating themselves. And according to News America, it says in this March 22nd publication, a Guyanese American is in the run for a New York Council seat. A New York City Council district seat. Good. In a special election that concludes on March 23rd. Yep. Lakshmi Gopal, a daughter of Guyanese immigrants, community organizer, and Bronx natives, is running for Bronx native rather is running for the New York City Council seat, District 15, vacated by Richie Torres. One Richie Torres. Again, this young lady is Lakshmi Gopal, and she's a daughter of Guyanese immigrants. And of course, we wish Lakshmi all the best in this election, and we hope, of course, that she comes out victorious, and that no doubt that Miss Gopal will keep our flag flying very, very high where she is there in New York. Good. Folks, we're moving on now. Again, there are so many issues that point to the fact that the PPP come back. And we're picking up this information over the weekend that says that an associate, a very close associate of Roger Kahn, a very very close associate of Roger Kahn, was gunned down outside of Palm Court over the weekend. Was gunned down again outside of Palm Court over the weekend, and the information suggests that one Ricardo, is this I don't know how to pronounce this surname, but one Ricardo, also known as Paper, was killed outside of Palm Court. Um, Picking up the reporting also, and this was out of Big Smith News over the weekend, picking up the same context of the reporting from Kiter News. Kiter News referred to the individual as a referred to the individual um, as a let me get it correct. Don't want to give any misinformation. Kaiser News refers to the gentleman, I think, as a gold dealer. Is it? Am I correct? Let me get it correct, folks. Yep. They said he was a close friend. He also drove for Roger Kahn. Right. I think that's what they identify him as. And so we are following this to the extent that we have some video of this shooting, folks. It has graphic images, which might not be suited to everyone, but we want to share it with you nonetheless. We're going to come back on the other side with some comments. Just playing it back once more for you guys. And there you have it, folks. There you have it. That was the murder of Mr. Ricardo over the weekend there at Palm Court. And as you know, we are still following this matter. It is on the police investigation, and we're going to bring the information to you as we get it. Yeah. So Mr. Ricardo is also, according to Kaiser News, is a gold dealer, and the newspaper also said that he drove for Mr. Khan. So I don't know which it is. He's a driver, he's a gold dealer. He could probably be both. But that is the news coming out of both Big Smith News over the weekend and Kaicho News today concerning the killing of this close associate, this gentleman, Ricardo, who they refer to as a close associate of Roger Khan. Folks, we've been down this road before in our nation's history, and it is not a nice place by any means. It is not a nice place by any means, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a period in our nation's history that is referred to as the Troubles. It is a period in our nation's history that Mr. Granger His Excellency former President Granger referred to as the Troubles. And again, we have seen this movie before. We know how it ends, and it is the onus is upon this government to arrest this kind of situation immediately, right? But this has characterized the PPP government. This has characterized the PPP government for a very, very long time. And it isn't 6 years since the APNU AFC has been out of office. It's a mere 6 months. And this kind of carnage is what we are already witnessing. And this is not the first in 6 months, right? And you can point, ladies and gentlemen, over the last 4 or 5 years, the amount of this kind of incidences that we have had, right? And then you can weigh for yourself the kind of quality government that we had, right? No doubt our thought and prayers are with this gentleman and with his family especially. I don't know anything about him personally, but according to, again, the reports coming out of Big Smith News and Kaitra News, he was a close associate of Shahid Rojakan, who we all know. And he is characterized in Kaitra News as being a driver for Rojakan and also being a gold dealer. And folks, there is what we have as it concerns that at this hour. In other news, I want to give you an update on the. In other news, I want to give you an update on the elections petition, and I think our very own Khemraj Ramjatan, leader of the Alliance for Change, and also one of the attorneys who is working on the elections petition cases, is going to drop by a little later on and give us some more context. But as an update, over the weekend we saw this piece of reporting coming out of the Guyana Standard that the Attorney General has filed a motion to strike out the coalition's petition appeal. And I could only summarize it in this way. As one person said on social media, the person said, if these PPP folks are saying to the world that they are guardians of democracy and they are a legitimate government, why are they so afraid of the petitions? It is worth repeating. If these people, the PPP, are saying to the world that they are the guardians of democracy and they are a legitimate government, why are they so afraid of this elections petition? Of course, the heart of the elections petition, Petition 99, which they are trying to strike out from the Court of Appeal, is based on allegations of several irregularities in the conduct of the elections, including widespread voter impersonation, widespread non-compliance with documentation, flawed voters lists, and several other irregularities. So one can only hazard a guess. If this election petition is successful, what it means, right? What it means is that the folks who have been accusing others of being riggers, they themselves are the original sanctimonious gangsters and riggers. And we're going to have some more context to that, as I said, a little later on in our program. But turning to some other news, we know today that government is paying its bills. The government is paying its bills, ladies and gentlemen. And this can only augur well for our city. There was a meeting today with Irfan Ali, Mayor of Georgetown, the national capital city, Ubraj Narain, and his deputy, Alfred Mentor. And coming out of the meeting is that Irfan Ali and the PPP has committed to paying government's debt, or at least start paying government's debt in terms of taxes to City Hall. I think they have committed $100 million, which I'm certain is a drop in the bucket for what the government owes to City Hall currently. So we are watching that, and it's important that people who owe taxes should pay their taxes, whether you're a big businessman or you're a small businessman. If there are taxes that are due to the state, if there are taxes that are due to an entity like City Hall, those taxes should be paid. Should be paid without question. Without question. And so it was interesting. It was quite interesting. The report coming out of, I think, the Office of the President suggests that the group discussed a range of issues affecting City Hall, as well as ways of strengthening, apologies, ways of strengthening collaboration between the central government and the mayor and city council. Yep. Irfan Ali said that the city and the national heritage of the city is a reflection of ourselves and pointed to the need for protection and preservation. All right, fluffy stuff. Folks, we got to keep the city clean, right? And we know that the APNU AFC government paid City Hall what was owed to City Hall and more. And more. APNU AFC government was a partner with City Hall in keeping this city clean and tidy. And folks, y'all can stifle your conscience. Y'all know that this city was better kept, better managed because of that partnership between the APNU AFC and the city council and its councillors than is occurring now. We are slowly seeing the garbage building up. Right? And we have our parts to play to as citizens. And I hope you understand that. I hope each and every one of you understand that we have a part to play as well as citizens in this country. We have a part to play. Moving along, folks, of course, you know, almost by heart, every evening we talk about COVID-19, that you have to sanitize, you have to wash your hands, you have to social distance, you have to wear your mask. It is tremendously important. Wear your mask. You know, just today, I saw a tweet from the US President Joe Biden and his Vice President, Kamala Harris. You know, they were going someplace, and both of them were together in the president's car, and they took a photograph, and the simple text on the tweet was, wear your mask. 3 words, wear your mask. It would be nice to see some photographs like that emanating from local leaders. It would be nice to see some photographs like that saying, wear your mask, from our leaders, sanitize, social distance. But they themselves have been in breach. And we learned today that another victim succumbed to COVID-19. Another victim succumbed to COVID-19. Folks, just a few days ago, the opposition was gathered at the Promenade Gardens to pay tribute to the 200 persons who died from COVID. It seemed like a week ago. It seemed like a week ago, a short time ago, there was that gathering at the Promenade Gardens by the opposition and members of parliament. And we are 216 today. 16 persons died from COVID since then. 16 persons. And the government is adamant they are not going to roll back the curfew measures or any other COVID measure or implement any other stringent measures to stem the tide. So, folks, this is where we are this evening. Again, I want to encourage us to social distance, to wear our mask, to sanitize. Right? The onus again is upon each and every one of us. Each and every one of us. Right? Each and every one of us. I want to welcome my guest this evening, leader of the Alliance for Change, Member of Parliament, Khemraj Ramjatan, and we're going to pick up on our conversation on the elections petition. Mr. Ramjatan, a very good evening. Welcome.
Hi, Sharad, welcome. I have a little runny nose. I don't know how. Probably it's a change of weather, the very heavy rains. But yes, I will go on. What's the topic you have? The elections
An update
petition.
on the elections petition. Yes, and as we're on COVID, I know you took the vaccine recently yourself and your beautiful wife.
Yeah, that's correct. We were in
How
Parliament.
is that process been?
Well, it went very well, as a matter of fact, and I would urge everybody out there to ensure that they go and get their jabs. Right now, I think it's the over 60 at the various places that were given the priority. And of course, the nurses and all other frontline workers. And recently, too, cabinet members and members of parliament, I understand. And we went a couple of days ago, and in parliament, we got our jabs, those that attended. And of course, the parliamentary staff, because they perform an important function too, in a kind of a frontline way for getting our legislators action ready for any time when Parliament is called. So it's very useful. It was the AstraZeneca one that was given a bad label recently out of Europe, but I understand now it has been corrected because, as a matter of fact, it is beating expectations after some sequel of research done in America by the FDA or the relevant authority over there. They're saying it is 100% use. What's the word they use? But it's 100%
Effective.
effective in relation to severe illness and death. Once you take it, you wouldn't get the severe illness or die. And I think some other 80% or so, you can get the thing still, but 80% is the chance that you would not get it. So it is in view of not having alternatives around there, and in view of the crowds you see all around Georgetown, and the lapsed, very lax enforcement happening all around town, you have to go take it once you are in the categories that they're giving. And I would be urging all our parliamentarians to go, and also all our over 60s to ensure that they too go and get it. I have been speaking to some people in quarantine. My mom, who is of course 80 and more, she too has been telling me that they are distributing at the various health centers and so on. So some people with, hesitation and all of that, I've been telling them that all the doctors I have spoken to, and only recently we talked to Dr. Somar, our AFC representative in New York there, and he indicated that we must all take it. So I am urging the same. It is very, very important.
Great.
In relation to the petition matter, I want to say that our submissions are in, and I understand also the submissions from the other side have been sent in to Justice Roxanne George, and that is in relation to petition number 88. Roysdale Ford and his team, inclusive of Jeremy from Trinidad, did extensive submissions and have sent that in. And I understand also that the Attorney General, along with Douglas Mendez and his team and the others, have sent in theirs for the respondents. I don't know if there is going to be any additional ones, but I have seen a number of these submissions sent in. I haven't gone all through them right now, and might not be in the best position to speak on them, but they are in. And to the extent then that the deadlines have been met as ordered by the Chief Justice, Roxanne George, that is what is in the position in relation to that one. The other one is where Roxanne George, Chief Justice...
Just before we get there, Khemraj, has a date been fixed for the commencement of the next phase of hearing for 88?
Yes, there was a date fixed. Yeah, a date was fixed by the Chief Justice.
I thought it was April 5th. I'm not too certain, so I was trying to get some confirmation because folks ask us all the time.
I don't have my diary with me downstairs here. but I can get that, and I will confirm the date with Roysdale, um, uh, and I can give you for your program tomorrow night. But I can give the dates as
Fantastic.
to when that is
Fantastic.
supposed to be heard.
Great. Tell us about 88 in the Court of Appeal now.
99.
99 rather, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. 99 now is in that state whereby we appealed against the decision of Roxanne George, Chief Justice, who dismissed our um, uh, petition. That was the one dealing with the irregularities and the illegalities and a number of other things as regards to recount. And
But it
of
was
course,
dismissed on a but it was dismissed on a technicality. It's
yeah,
important
it
to
was
know.
dismissed on a technicality. Well, in law, as you would have learned in your short study of the law whilst doing your LLB, that indeed technicalities constitute good grounds for lawyers to make submissions on and then proceed to get, the courts doing their orders. What the court ordered, we have appealed, however, and that appeal has been filed, and I think all the grounds and everything else have been filed. What now we have noticed is that the respondents team, including the Attorney General, lawyer for Barajagdeo as the list leader for PPP, and some of the other smaller parties' lawyers, they have filed what is called an objection to what we did, carrying the matter to the Court of Appeal. I understand that it is very succinct and summary that we are in the wrong court, it apparently is. And they filed something objecting via preliminary point, stating that that is not the court, that the matter should be determined, or that the jurisdiction of that court is not something that is the basis for the petition going there, now that it has been dismissed by the Chief Justice. So every effort and every ounce of effort really and is being made and utilized here by the lawyers for the Attorney General and Barajagdeo for striking this thing out so that it will not be heard. So all the illegalities and the recounts and whatever else that was found in that process, which in the other petition we are saying is unconstitutional, would now for them mean that we don't have the jurisdiction at the Court of Appeal to go argue that. There was not a write-up as to why they're saying what they're saying. So the why of it will come afterwards. I think now that the matter is before the Court of Appeal, our grounds of appeal against Roxanne George, Chief Justice, and their preliminary objection that the Court of Appeal is going to ask and order further arguments as to why you are saying that the Court of Appeal is not a place to hold the appeal proceeding in relation to that petition number 99.
But
as to when that will be done, I am urging that it be done expeditiously, because that is the nature of these proceedings. You want them to be done as expeditious as possible, and hopefully that will be done. But here again, there is this serious motivation and a manifestation of that motivation that let's block this 99 by this thing a little too serious for me with all those things.
What I'm coming to, and that's what I'm coming to, because the ordinary person, or what the law calls the reasonable person, I could ask the valid question, if the PPP wants to prove rigging, then why are they fighting this case? Why are they fighting
that is a very, very serious point, and that is a very valid point you're making. And that is why probably they just don't want the courts to hear it. Yes, there was a technicality about Granger, former president and leader of the list for the APNU FC, not being served in time. And then you had 11 other respondents, all of whom have been served. But we are saying, of course, that he was served in time. It is just that the the write-ups that were there evidenced something else. And well, in inverted commas, I am saying, because indeed we are saying that he was served within the time. But that is the whole point of it. You have nailed it there. There is tremendous underlying reasons why they do not want it to be heard, because the thing is going to show that from all those findings of irregularities and dead people voting and people from overseas voting who have been proven by virtue of affidavits from the commissioner of police, who is also the chief immigration officer, that these persons obviously were overseas. They didn't come in back unless they came in backtrack and so on. Thousands. And then, of course, what happens to votes where nothing but just the SOPs of the votes of the PPP and the votes of the APNU AFC are in the box? What about all the other self-reconciling documents gone amiss? That is questionable for those boxes. But in any event, let us see how the court is going to deal with these things. But rest assured that you have a point, and a well-made point, that they want to duck this kind of repugnance, dealings or whatever it is that happened there in those boxes and with those votes, constituting in the vicinity of about 16,000.
Yeah. And that being said, what would you say to Guyanese this evening that are very, very concerned about this process and how it is seeming to drag on as against being dealt with expeditiously? And because we keep getting the question, what is happening with the petitions? Where are they? When are they going to be heard? What is your thoughts to Guyanese people on this
Patience,
issue?
patience, patience. Look, the court system is always certain. The court system is always the best system, but like good things, it needs time, and the processes of the court, you sometimes can't do it so hastily and so on. We would want as much expedition as possible, as I mentioned, but our courts have quickened a lot of its processes. I have seen that now that I am back out. I am not in full practice, but in the couple of times that I've gone to court, I've seen cases go along very quickly, and trials taking place and so on. So they have a humongous amount of other cases in the Court of Appeal. It is not as if this is the only one. And so although it should be given priority, and I know that the Chancellor will obviously give it priority, and even if it has to go to the CCJ will certainly give it priority, that we'll have to bear our patience and await the call-up dates that these cases are going to be given, at which point then we will make our arguments and, of course, argue strenuously. One way or the other, the court will rule, and then we can then take it to the CCJ if we don't find favor with the court's ruling and the Court of Appeal either, and then settle the matter once and for all there. That is what
Yeah.
the law is all about, and it just sometimes can't rush it. I believe that is my advice to the people out there. It is in the court. It is taking its time there by virtue of now they're asking for some preliminary objections that the court don't have jurisdiction and whatever else and so on. But that we have to bear our patience, and of course you will get your judgment in due time.
Excellent. Khemraj, I couldn't have you here and don't you kind of tease your brain on two other issues before I let you go. As former Minister of Public Security / Home Affairs, as we know the ministry now, there seems to be an upsurge in crime recently, and and some very, very brazen criminals. I mean, we saw serious crime go down under your stewardship. You seem to have received a lot of flack for your own measured way of doing things, but it got the job done in terms of piracy and some of what we're seeing on our streets currently. We saw a fella gunned down in front of Palm Court quite recently, who is said to be a close associate of Roger Khan. What are your thoughts with crime and how it's being managed currently, generally?
Look, I have a deep suspicion that the high rates of execution types killings and all the very serious, reprehensible, violent, very, very violent types crime are going to come back on our streets. I get the impression that that there is a renewed confidence on especially those that deal with drugs and guns and gangs. They have this renewed confidence restored in them since the administration of the APNU FC um, has ended. And we had taken, not that it was to be called a zero tolerance, it was that we were doing the necessary things all across the country and all across. Yes, that I noticed you have brought it up there in the ring. Look at that thing. And you have to be measured too. You just can't be too drastic. And this is what I learned from the various reports that the various discussions I had with Russell Coombe, the British expert that came from Scotland Yard, that stayed here, did so many reports and got so many other reports done by other consultants and so on. And I also, along with, I think, Mr. Ramnarayan, went to Arizona and got some good lectures there as to what we can do as politicians. It has to do with taking care of the hot spots, mapping it. In front of that business space is always a hot spot. And I came in for a lot of flack because I ask people that we must ensure that the 2 a.m. curfew, ensure that 2 a.m. curfew also applies to Palm Court. But by look, I got so much of trouble for Palm Court because it is connected with so much of them PPP people. And then them police boys, when they go there, they're told this and that and whatever. And now that the PPP is in government, what you gonna have? The thing gonna open all hours and all kind of thing. And all kinds of people are gonna find that, when they go there, they're gonna meet ministers, they're gonna meet this body and the big fellas, and that is what you're gonna have. But largely, this thing, you got to map out where the guns coming from, who dealing with the drugs, and the formations of gangs, like those two fellas running out of that white vehicle and then running in back after killing the man. You got to target these persons, and that looked like somebody's videoing that thing there, because a stable video from the building. And I have asked people like in the Palm Court owners and so on that they must put these things on their buildings, so it will be stationary, and you would have a kind of a global 180-degree kind of thing, and you would have seen it. But like somebody was taking out the video who was probably drinking there after he would have seen whatever happened. We also have to, well, this one was pretty well lighted up. We have to ensure that all the hot spots, as we did, and you would know that because you were there at my ministry, where you have lighting facilities in these hot spots. Now, lights is very important. Lights are very important, and lighting is very important for purposes of capturing these images. What you will call people who are the bandits and who are the robbers and the murderers and all of them, they think twice. Well, these look like professional executioners. So no matter what light you got, whatever you got, they will still go and kill him, because they probably might be expatriates who are hired guns. They could be guys
15 bullets. Kaichorn said he received 15 bullets.
Yes, and that is scary. That kind of thing. And if you don't catch them early, they're gonna get spunks and other people. Sometimes they do it just because of the stereotype. They want to do it. They want to do it as a copycat sort of. and so they will want to do that and get other people paying them to do that. A lot of information was gathered during the term of the 5 years that we were in as to where these hotspots are, and also who the people with the guns out there are who can do these violent execution type murders. And so the police hopefully are going to, utilize that kind of data bank and ensure that they catch hold of these people. We had brought in from Canada, and thank God for Canada coming to our assistance very early, the video analysis, because with a video like this, we could magnify that almost 1,000 times and to go right up to that car. The video analysis equipment that came via Canada. And I'm certain that
you have the whole smart city, the whole smart city project with the cameras at various points.
I was coming to that. Yeah, but this image being captured here by some private citizen, that could be utilized. It could be utilized just here, like how you have it there now, and carried to the analyst department of the police force, and they could magnify it, and they could even probably catch the faces of those same murderers that did this execution style killing here. But moreover than that, you get lighting there, you get a video analysis. You also have to have a professional police force that will go after some of these guys. I think that there might be a loss of professionalism.
Well, we see what's happening with the police force. We saw what happened with Pastor Dolly Chan. We're seeing what's happening with the police force.
You can't even pray to accept the sins of the police force now. You're getting revoked. What kind of nonsense like that? And on that man's matter, I would wish to say, when I went in as minister, this fellow, Silal Prasad, had indicated to me that Pastor Dolly Chan is an extremely frank fellow, and you might find some of his prayers and so on very getting under your skin. I said, no, I want people like that. And I am glad that the president reinstated immediately after some officer knocked the man off. That was rather foolish. But I am certain that that decision to knock him off came from the highest of positions, probably the minister himself. And it was only a call back after they realized the nonsense, and then you don't have a freedom of conscience in Guyana. If you're the chaplain and you seeing things there and you want to make a prayer, prayers must be allowed under the freedom of conscience and religion provision of the Constitution. When a man prayed and you cut him out as the chaplain, it was such a foolish thing. And one or two decisions of that police force have really been foolish, and that is why myself and leader of the opposition and a number of other people went there to meet the commissioner of police and ask him what's happening. And I could also sense that with all of this renewed confidence of execution style, this kind of thing will cause a retrogression of all that we did during the 5-year period. It was slowly, because it takes some time. The violence in Guyana prior to 2015, and of course during the 2002-2006 period, and those period when you had 200-300 murders happening and so on, even of policemen and so. The bad times. What was it called? The Troubles.
The Troubles.
We don't want that to come back to Guyana. Crime and violent crime will affect all of us, and you know what? It has a negative effect in our hospitals. Our mortuary, you know, it freezes up the freedoms that people want to enjoy in Guyana. You know, even if it happens around that area, the first time the gunshot go off, the students doing their homework, they get scared. They can't go do their homework. People that want to go into a park or a play field to play and so on, they're scared. Where could a strange bullet come for them? And things like that. So it has a cost that is heavy. And then businesses also going to lock up now by I don't want this and so on to happen at my business premises and so on. So you're going to have all of that happening again. But it largely comes through the guns, the gangs, and the drugs. And all of that seems to have increased dramatically, especially with that couple tons that were found in Belgium immediately after, last year. in the last year. And we have to get
Yeah,
a number of the recommendations that these experts that came to Guyana gave and implement them. The city got
precisely.
the highest crime rates. So you got to light up the city the most. You got to ensure that that smart city program that I had is further enhanced. I didn't see so much monies in the budget for that. You want to know the values of a government? See how they spend their monies and on what. If they
Yeah.
gone and spending it
And that project was supposed to be expanded to other municipalities as well.
it was supposed right, and it was supposed
Yeah.
for other tongues and all of that. But
Yeah.
like it's been halted
Yeah,
because
because
they
it's
like what is
interesting is that
happening there.
I think there are cameras right in this area of Palm Court here connected to that smart city grid. It's interesting that we're seeing Palm Court cameras and we're not seeing the smart city cameras. But
Well,
cameras
it is because the
on that
police
yeah,
probably will control the smart city cameras. You might not see all of that, and it
yeah.
might not be the best thing for you to. Well, they could play it if they want to. So I asked members of the public if they could identify
Correct.
some of these men.
That is where I was heading. But that
Yeah,
being said, we've seen this degradation of the police force. Now, all of this infighting with who got what post and who wants what post. We see from the police force $300 million missing. I mean, this is incredible stuff, and we're yet to hear about comprehensively who killed the Henry boys. Do you think we'll find out who killed this gentleman here on Main Street?
every day that goes past and there isn't any development in relation to finding the killers makes it more difficult. Crimes are solved almost the best time for solving crimes are the immediacy within the vicinity of when it happened. But as it is dragging on like this, hardly likely. And it is a very bad thing to say. And I want to give hope to those family members, the surviving family members. But the rule of thumb is this, that the longer it takes to solve, the more likelihood it will remain unsolved. That is the rule of thumb in relation
Yeah,
to murders
yeah,
of this nature. And that is surprising in relation to a force that you left there, having so much improvements made on. The Americans were proud as to what they were doing with the drugs. The Canadians were very proud of what the equipment, how they were being used to catch a lot of criminals,
yeah.
um, and so on. And now, all of a sudden, these things happening, and more than likely, nothing will come of them. But I will still want to believe that the police force is going to make every effort to catch the killer of that guy. What's his name? Fagundes?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Ricardo
Some
Fagundes.
Ricardo. Yes,
Yeah,
I think I happen to know that guy from from
yeah.
from from around town too. He was a fella.
Khemraj, just before we go, and then we just gone past our program time, and I want to wrap up. Sabuk News had credit you for your stick to itiveness in terms of the trial license issue, and basically went as far as saying that what the minister did or whoever granted the trial license was an act of corruption. What are your thoughts? And they are saying that they are going to continue to follow this issue. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I believe it is corruption. I believe it was a payback to somebody for licenses arrangement, and I don't believe it is that man. That man associates
Yeah.
are the corrupt people behind it. I can tell you privately who they are. But that is what this thing is all about. You're gonna give some man living in Trinidad that never had any fishing experience. Don't fish we up now, man. Don't fish me.
Correct.
That's what they're
Correct.
trying to do. And the
Correct.
minister gone and give some very disgraceful answers to the questions in Parliament. You
Yeah.
know, he's talking
Yeah.
all kind of nonsense about there was a whole set of other things deviating and distracting from the actual questions I asked.
Yeah.
You know,
Now,
and that is why
now
I'm
the
glad
ministry is
that
saying
Sabbath
that
News is
that is
hammering him.
bombarding them with questions, quote unquote, bombarding the minister with questions on
Yeah,
this trial
but I
license.
will continue to do that. Look, I don't believe so much so that it is something coming from the minister. I happen to know that minister for a long, long time, since when we were small boys in the PYO. I don't think that he got all them smartness. It's some senior leaders in the PVP
What an
who making the
indictment.
cutback and the deals, the Faustinian
Yeah,
deals, the deals with
yeah,
the devil,
yeah,
and granted that kind of thing. So
yeah.
the corruption is indeed there, very much there.
All right. Khemraj, thanks for joining us this evening. It was a privilege having you bring us an update on the election petitions that are before the High Court and the Court of Appeal currently, and touching on crime in this country in terms of what happened on Main Street recently, and also on the trawler license issue of corruption. Thanks again, Khemraj Ramjatan, leader of the Alliance for Change, Member of Parliament. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much.
And folks, there we have it for this evening. Again, as we go, we encourage you guys to social distance, wear your mask, sanitize. When you're in your groups, it shouldn't be groups of more than 10. That's what the regulation says, folks. And even in groups of 10, ensure that you are social distance. Folks, that's what we have for you this evening. We're going to see you tomorrow night right here. I think coming up next on social media, on Benchcrop Radio, we have Straight Up with Mark Benchcrop, and I think we're going to be followed a little later on by Rickford Burke's program, and I commend both programs to you, ladies and gentlemen, this evening. Thanks for joining us again, and do stay safe. Do stay safe.